1 out of every 10 deliveries in the United States is born preterm. Born too soon, which puts that baby at risk for a variety of short-term and long-term illnesses.
Altogether worldwide, that's about 15 million babies that are born early. In many of these cases, we don't know what is the cause for a woman to go into labor early. And while there are, for instance, medically indicated preterm births, the majority of preterm birth is actually spontaneous. The March of Dimes organization has funded 6 prematurity centers, 5 of them in the US and 1 in London, in Imperial College of London.
The special interest of consequence to this program has been the interest in preterm birth. The reason for it was that with all activities that were progressing and with biology being explored, preterm birth continued at its unabated rate. And so the issue became, how does one find a way to determine why there is premature birth and what to do about it?
So as the principal investigator, my role at Stanford was to assemble intellect from all over this campus, arrange teams of individuals that would work in a transdisciplinary way, bringing all these disciplines together, learning how to talk to each other and understand what the practical problem is, and then look at it in a way that is fully integrated across these different disciplines as we tackle these very complex human problems like preterm birth.
As a result of this, many different data sets are being created. People are looking at transcriptomics data, people are looking at genetics, people are looking at the microbiome. The data are very diverse, and the idea of our efforts is to bring all of this information together and apply new computational approaches and leverage the resources that have been generated.
Dr. Sirota's lab, which is now at UCSF, really had its first entry into this effort when she was at Stanford. So when she moved to UCSF with one of her colleagues, there was no reason why we couldn't subcontract with that institution to engage them further. So now we have the expertise of not only Stanford University and its computational scientists, but the computational scientists, some of the very best at UCSF, helping us with this project.
My group collaborates with the March of Dimes funded Stanford Prematurity Center, and we work primarily on data sharing efforts and figuring out how to aggregate and integrate different types of data to impact prematurity.
Our solution is to use high-dimensional machine learning algorithms that would be able to pull predictive power from various data sources, as well as from epidemiology level data, to understand the shared biological pathways across various populations that would be able to predict preterm birth in a more generalized and translationally applicable setting.
We have data on over 8,000 samples. In addition, we're tying in data from the public domain. So we want to take the data that's being generated as part of the March of Dimes funded efforts and integrate that together with the data from the public domain to be able to ask questions.
In our research, we might be dealing with a single cell and thinking about the immune function of that single cell, all the way to thinking about more epidemiologically or public health-wise the number of liquor stores on a particular corner in a particular community that might be elevating the stress of the community that lives there to actually invoke a preterm birth response.
So we're still in the early days, but we're starting to figure out how to integrate these diverse data sets. So for instance, my group has recently worked on a meta-analysis in the context of gene expression to identify which genes might be significantly associated or might be predictive of preterm birth in moms. We were able to aggregate data from a number of different studies, and by bringing the data together, we're able to see signals that are not seen in one study alone. I hope that we'll be able to continue the data sharing efforts as they are now, and finally, I hope that collaboration between basic scientists, clinicians, and computational researchers might bring us a little bit closer to understanding this problem better and affecting it both in terms of identifying women who are at high risk for preterm birth, but also trying to come up with an intervention or a therapeutic discovery that might help.